Oh, might have been a hit. That was a something. Yep, big fish, massive, massive flathead. Right off the surface too. Here we go. See you, buddy. Oh, that is the one that I was hoping for this morning. Oh, it's a beauty. Absolute belter. Right off the surface. Oh, it is just chilling and it's massive. The confidence just to stop and play. Now, come on. I've got to be careful around here because it is loaded with rocks. Oh, a huge boil off to the side there, if you can see that. I'm not trying to hurry or anything. It's up there. This is Now let me have a proper look at you. Oh, it's a beautiful big flatty. Oh, wow. Let's see if I can get it in closer to the bank. I'd prefer to get it up right near the bank. Oh. There we go, let's have a look, eh? Oh, I don't know if you can see that down there. Oh, she's a beauty. Get down under that. Oh. It's trying to wrap me on the prop. Oh, she's a giant, big, wide one. Here we go, look at this. Look at the size of that biggie. Oh. Look at her. All right, come here. Oh, come here in this net here. Big fatty, let's go. Oh, that's the way. Get in here. Oh my goodness, it's bigger now, I see it in the net. It's crazy when they get to this size, they start to like morph out. That is a massive flatty. There's the big whiting soft glide. Oh, wow. I'll unwrap that. Now, would you have a look at that? What a beauty, eh? Huge flatty taken on the soft glide. What a brute. And that is one of the widest flatties I've taken. I haven't got her on the mat yet. I'll put her on the mat. Let's have a look at how long it goes, but it is definitely one of the widest fish. It's a dream size dusky mat. I reckon it's gonna go close to filling that. Let's have a look. Big flatty. Yeah, you're big, all right. Near 85, but it is wide as the mat. Look at that flatty. Whew. This is just the best fun in the estuaries. The take is off its head. See you later. What a beauty.
I'll get this out. Another goodie on the glide. couldn't put it down because it was going well this morning. We're actually struggling to get numbers, but the big whiting's going well, so that's a good thing. Late in the comp we might do a bit more of that stuff. But I mean, the comp for us, a lot of it is about getting numbers in those early days, but if you're not getting the numbers and you're not in the mix, chasing a giant on the last couple of days or the last few hours, I reckon with these glides that's what we're going to end up doing. That's a beautiful fish though, look at that. There you go, look at that for a nice big flatty, eh? There we go. See you, buddy.
Oh, that's a good fish, mate.
Yeah.
Huge excitement this week, the Flathead Classic. We wait all year for this, and what I'm going to do is take you through the gear that we're prepared to use and what the conditions are showing at the moment. We're out here the day before and we've had about 2 hours on the water. We've caught a couple of fish, but it's a little bit slower with those smaller sort of numbers, the school size flathead. And in the comp, that's really what most people chase to get their points up. Chasing the really big flathead, because you're not going to catch as many generally, it can be really hard going and it will hammer you in the points. But our plan is to chase those big ones maybe on the last day, and I'll show you what we're going to use to do that. But I'll get straight into the sort of stuff that we're going to be throwing on the first couple of days to hopefully get a few numbers. Right, now generally the gear that we're using to catch these school size flathead, it's all sort of 3 and 4 inch stuff. So if I start off with the prawns, these swim prawns by Holt Production are one of our long-time favourites, and we've caught a ton of flathead on these. I've done reviews on these, but really what we do is throw the little 4 inch plastics and the 3 inch plastics in along the mangrove lined edges. And so you're going to see us doing some of that stuff, especially when the tide's up. I'll give you a better look at these things. So Holt Productions make these. I'm going to go through all the stuff we've got here beside me because we're probably going to end up fishing it all. But this is one of the baits that we usually start with. Now that's a Holt Production swim prawn. They come in a whole range of colours and they've got a beautiful little profile with some perfectly designed little legs underneath that just work beautifully in the water, even at a really slow speed. And even if you're ripping this thing, those legs don't throw it out. So that's one of our go-tos, and it's probably the thing that we start with. That's what we got the most fish on last year. The other one that I like to throw, one of the other prawn imitations, is a little clone prawn. You'll probably see it throughout the comp, but the way that I like to rig that is with a weedless hook. And so if we're throwing around weed and stuff, I've got these little BKK chimeras, they're called. So that little weedless there, rigged with a swinging ball sinker on the front. That's how I like to do that. And I might show you, we're going to catch fish on them, so I'll show you during the comp how I do it and the rigging and that sort of stuff. Today's more about giving you a look at the gear that we're going to be using. The other little prawn that I like to use, this is by Shimano Squidgy's range. It's called a prawn wriggler tail in the 95mm, and this has accounted for a really hot bite. One of the best bites I've had leading into the Classic was on this little 95mm, again rigged weedlessly with a little swinging ball sinker. But they're super stretchy, these things, really durable. It's one of the things I love about them. I'll show you, have a look at this. They come in a couple of different styles with a little paddling tail, but these ones come with a curly tail on the back. You can see that there. So they're really stretchy and they just look like a little prawn. All right, so they're the prawn imitations. The other things that we like to fish are tiny little minnow style baits. And one of the most recent reviews that I've done on a new line of lures are these death baits. And this is a little death shad. I've done a review on this where I caught a ton of flathead just recently, and I love these for how soft they are with a really loose action and a paddling tail. And they're quite durable, tiny little profile, and the flathead, they just love that. A tiny profile with a kicking paddling tail. Generally it's just like a little 1/4 ounce weight or a 1/6 ounce. That's what these flathead love to chase. Now, I've got a whole range of jig heads in, but this is one that I've just started to use. These are by First Cast. I don't even know if he's actually released these, but I got a packet of these off Matt maybe a week ago, and I really like them because of the way that they've got the painted head on them, but then the way that these are held, that little holding keeper there for the really soft stuff like the Crush City imposter prawns, which is another prawn imitation we're going to use. These hold the really soft plastics quite well. Okay, so painted head, which is all the rage when you're chasing flathead, and a really sharp, little sharp
hook on the front there. So that's how we like to run these little plastics. Now there's a range of this stuff. First cast have got a little 3-inch paddling lure, and I've fished with these for jacks in the 4-inch and they're fantastic. And then this brand cast, Tommy caught a couple of flathead on these this week, and these are a great little soft plastic. Have a look at this. They've got a uniquely designed tail. I've got to review these. I haven't done enough on these, but I'm going to review these in the weeks to come. The reason I like them, different shaped tail, and it's really busy in the water, and then a tiny little profile. And the colours that they've got through their design with the feature, they've got a drawn in underside here, like a little ventral area there that draws in, and it gives it a really cool finish. And you might be able to see, I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually a tiny little rattle chamber just under the chin in there. So as you're flicking this, you can hear it as you're hopping it through the shallows. So that little cast plastic's one that I'm excited about using. Actually, these have been fishing quite well, and this is an Australian, he's a local guy, Wayne, that does these gobblers lures, and these little shad style things, tiny little profile. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be fishing with these over the next few days in the Classic. Now, I'll put links to all of this stuff. If you like the look of some of this stuff, or you see it in the next couple of videos of us catching fish, there'll be links at the bottom of this video where you can go and get it for yourself. But that's sort of it. We haven't done a lot of vibing. We did some with Vinesy when we went out on Captain Charters maybe a month ago, and he showed us a little bit of how to do it, some really good tricks that he's got dialed in to chase flathead. So we might try a little bit of that if we're struggling in the shallows. But generally that's the tactic that we use. We get up on the shallows and we throw these little plastics, mostly soft plastics, around the weed edges, the little dirty pockets and the drop-off edges. And that's how we're planning on catching our fish. We generally throw a bit of scent on everything too, guys. So we're using scent, smearing it every sort of, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. That's been really successful for us, especially some of the days we've had where we haven't been using the scent, and Jai's been really consistent with it. He's outfished us. Most times that's the case. That happened on that charter too, Jai, remember? Yeah. These are my soft glides, and I've been catching fish on these. These have been really successful and doing well in the local big flathead comps as well. We're going to be using those probably on as it gets further into the competition. As the bite gets harder, I think these really shine in that hard bite to get those fish that have sort of seen everything else presented to them and they want a big profile. I got 2 this morning on that. Before we get into the conditions, I'm going to finish on the conditions and the tactics. I'll just show you the setup that I love to use. So you can see there, that's one of those little first cast plastics with the little jig head on it. That's basically what we like to throw around and hop and drop these along the edges and over the flats in about 1 metre of water. And the way that I run it, you can see I've got a little bite leader there. So that bite leader is like 15 pound, I think, and that just helps to reduce the bite offs from a flatty. If you get a nice fish that fully takes the plastic down, that little bite leader will just prevent that. And from there, I've got like a 6 pound leader that goes for about 1.5 metres up to a 4 pound braid. And I love these light setups with 4 pound braid because you can just throw it so far. So you can cover more distance. I'm way more accurate with that really light setup and that light line. And it's all spooled on. This is a Vanford, Shimano Vanford 3000 HG. Okay, and these are just a beautiful reel. They're super smooth, easy to get reeling, and nice smooth drag on them. And that Zodias, the 270M Zodias, is just a beautiful pairing. So that's my go-to flatty setup. I love this setup, and that's what I've fished with basically all year in all my flatty fishing videos, has been this little setup. For the heavier stuff, I still throw it on like a 2,000 to 3,000 size reel, but I'm using a heavier rod, and that's a BB hard rocker. It's 8'3", so a big long rod to throw these big soft glides on. Gets big casts. So anything over that 7'2" is ideal. So anyway, there's going to be heaps more information coming in the Flathead Classic video that I run. I run them every year, so if you're keen on seeing those, you're going to be able to check a few of those out. I can link some of those videos below this video as well. But there's a lot of excitement about the Classic this year. There's over 600 competitors, over 250 teams. That's going to shape how we fish it, I think. That plays into it when you're in a comp and there's just traffic, boat traffic everywhere. So I'm going to take you through the tactics that we're going to use and the conditions that we've got. I might try and overlay to the side of this video what the conditions are. I'm using willy weather to check those conditions out, and basically we've had a drop in the wind prediction as the weeks got closer, and it's going to start with really light southwesterly winds, so that's going to clear off the surface. So it's going to be really calm early morning, and then the northerly, it's going to swing around to a northerly in the afternoon as the tide's running out. So hopefully you can see there, the afternoon tide is a run out tide, and we've got pretty high northerly winds, which for us in this little boat means we've got to try and tuck out of that, because we're not capable of getting out right out to the pin and fishing those really open areas with the high winds. So in the afternoon we'll be tucking out, getting into creeks most likely, and fishing some of the drains that are feeding into those creeks as the tide's running out. And that's going to be a key part of our tactics for the couple of days that we're out here. First up in the morning, it's a high tide. So we're going to be up on the flats, throwing in on the edges, and probably fishing with these Holt's swim prawns, throwing over the mangroves and then dropping it down the edges of those mangrove lined banks. And that's been really, really effective for us. So getting out of the wind where we can, and then in the mornings getting out and hitting those big areas, those expanses of mangrove line edges, is the way we like to do it. Staying back off the edge, so we're not spooking the fish and the bait that are in there. That's really important too. So you'll see us really quiet on the electric motor, using my little silent anchor, okay, to be able to stay in position on those flats in complete silence. Hopefully we can get onto a heap of fish. Folks, that's about it. If you've got questions or comments, I'd love to read them in the comment section under this video. We're really excited. Jai and I are fishing it again this year. Ben's not here, he's moved up north, so he's going to help us chase some barra later in the year, I'm hoping, if we can get up there. But yeah, it's going to be Jai and I chasing the Flathead for a few days in the Classic. We're really excited to bring it to you. Hopefully we can get onto some fish. All right, the next video, that's what it's going to be all about. I'll see you in it.